Greetings troopers, welcome to the Imperial Academy. In this series we're taking a look at the major factions, clans and cultures within the galaxy that exist alongside the Empire. And what better way to start this series off than to look at the Empire's main opposing faction, the Rebel Alliance. We shall look at their history, organisation and structure, and how they were able to take on the technological might of the Imperial Armada. But with that, feel free to leave a like, subscribe and comment if you enjoy Galactic Empire content or just Star Wars content in general, and maybe feel free to share this video with other like-minded Star Wars fans to show your allegiance to the Empire. But without further ado, let's talk about the Rebel Scum. The Rebel Alliance, the Rebellion, the Rebel Scum. The galaxy knows these freedom fighters by many names, but us Imperials know them for this. And we of course detest them for blowing up the Empire's only Death Star, causing us to build another one. But this is not the only trouble they have caused us. The Rebel Alliance is a major faction within the galaxy created for the purpose of opposing the Galactic Empire and restoring the Galactic Republic. It is the main opposing force to the Empire in the Galactic Civil War, relying on guerrilla tactics and unconventional warfare to take us on. But before that, let's start with the history of the Rebel Alliance. The Rebels got their start during the Clone Wars as small pockets of fighters and soldiers opposing and fighting against separatist occupation of different planets and galactic sectors throughout the galaxy. With the aid of the Republic and the Jedi, these groups proved themselves to be a substantial force, even going as far as to liberate some planets from separatist control. Onderon is an especially notable example, as the planet was eventually freed from separatist jurisdiction by famous extremist and warmonger Saw Gerrera and his sister Stila Gerrera, as well as a small army of Onderonian resistance fighters, making them the first seeds of rebellion in the galaxy, as well as many others. It wasn't until the near end of the Clone Wars and the Galactic Republic that the first trace of the rebellion we know today would come to fruition. Senator Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, Padme Amidala and many others would come together to create the Rebel Alliance in response to Palpatine declaring himself Galactic Emperor, with Mon Mothma eventually taking up the lead role, splitting away from the Senate in order to establish, maintain and utilise the Rebel Alliance and what they had before Leia Organa came along. The process of getting the rebellion created and large enough to take on the Empire was arduous, as they needed to rally enough people who believed in the cause and had to stay under the radar of the Empire to ensure they weren't noticed during their early days. But nonetheless, the Rebel Alliance was eventually founded by several different planets throughout the galaxy, creating resistance movements and unifying under the Rebel banner against the Empire, kicking off the Galactic Civil War, with the rest being history. So with that, let's talk about the Rebels' organisation and structure. The Rebel Alliance is ruled by a Chief of State or Chancellor. This role is occupied by Senator Mon Mothma of Chandrila, and she is responsible for overseeing the Rebel Army and is in charge of making large decisions on how the Rebel Alliance should proceed when it comes to war operations. Because Mon Mothma occupies the role of Chancellor within the Rebel Alliance, she will later become the head of the New Republic, but like that will ever happen. Along with that, there are 6 cabinet posts which lead alongside the Chancellor, which are responsible for overseeing the other branches of the Republic and people of the galaxy. These cabinets include the Minister of Education, Minister of Finance, Minister of Industry, Minister of State, Minister of Supply, Minister of War, and so on. Looking into the Rebel Army, each soldier is organised into a squad, which is led by a sergeant who makes tactical decisions and is responsible for mobilising and organising their squad and coming up with the best approach to taking on enemies. Multiple of these squads together make a platoon, which is overseen by a lieutenant. Platoons can be found in large assault and defence battles like Hoth for example. Moving up to space, we have the Rebel Navy and Starfighter Corps. Starting with the Navy, it consists of many different models of capital ships that are all suited for different roles during battles. These ships are organised into fleets, and these fleets are overseen by admirals. Individual ships are managed by captain. Starfighter Squadrons are a bit different, as they are responsible for getting into the real nitty-gritty of space battles, as they defend capital ships from enemy fighters and take on enemy capital ships directly while trying to avoid getting killed. Starfighters are organised into squadrons consisting of different starfighter models. These squadrons are overseen by the captain or person in charge of the capital ships they are trying to protect, and if those capital ships are destroyed, then there is little hope for those rebel pilots involved in the battle. So there's a little tip for you guys in the Imperial Starfighter Corps. Overall, the military and leadership organisation of the Rebel Alliance relies on hope, unity and friendship among its soldiers, as the people who fight for it all have bigger aspirations of a better galaxy for them and the people they fight for. This is what allows the Rebel Alliance to stay as strong and live as long as it has so far. But with that, let's talk about how the Rebels are able to take on the powerful technological might of our galactic empire. The Rebel armies do not have access to the same technology and power that the Galactic Empire does, and because of this they have to rely on unconventional battle tactics and out-of-the-box thinking when it comes to war campaigns, meaning they cannot take the Empire head-on the way it was done in the Clone Wars, for example, as this would result in the Rebels being devastated. A good example of this would be the Battle of Hoth. Instead they use Guerrilla Warfare, which is when head-on confrontations with an opponent are avoided in favour of striking and chipping away at enemy forces utilising the help of civilians, insurgency groups and revolutionaries, in order to free planets and galactic sectors from the Empire's jurisdiction. This type of warfare used by the rebels is extremely effective against the Empire and its forces, as it is tough to predict exactly when and where the rebellion will strike and how they will attack. Will they use individual soldiers with blasters and thermal detonators? Will they bring tanks, walkers and heavy blasters? Will they bring a whole fleet of Mon Calamari cruisers, several squadrons and a large infantry platoon consisting of thousands of soldiers or even a Jedi? These are the kind of questions that Imperial generals, commanders and admirals need to ask themselves if there are ever suspected rebel cells about. Overall, the rebellion in some aspects sure gives the Galactic Empire a run for its credits, but I mean, it's not like they will ever beat us. The Empire is simply too powerful, and with another Death Star well on the way, the Galactic Empire is sure ready to bring order and stability back to the galaxy, and remove the rebellion and its leaders once and for all. Thanks for watching, long live the Empire, and may the Force be with you.